I'm going to tell you a story about a philosophical duel that might have happened, or could have happened, maybe even did happen a long, long time ago, more than 2,000 years ago, in the city of Athens. The very well-known, the great philosopher Plato was teaching to his students in the Academia of Plato, which was an outdoor academy of teaching. And he was expounding his views on the theories of bodies and matter, when he saw an old man coming, hunched over, and he came closer and closer to where Plato was standing with his students sitting all around him. And the old man came nearly into the circle of the students, and Plato had to stop. He was interrupted. And the old man said, "Could I please sit with you and listen?" And Plato, he was always glad to have people come and listen to him. And so he just motioned to the old man to sit down. And he went and he sat down with the students. And Plato went on speaking and expounding and saying and talking about the four elements: wind or air, fire, water, earth, and how these constitute shapes, and they make the cube and the octahedron and the tetrahedron. And at that moment, the old man started laughing. Plato stopped for a moment and looked at him. But he went on speaking about the perfection of the universe. And then the old man burst out laughing very loud and completely interrupted the wise philosopher. Plato became angry and said, "Old man, why are you laughing?" "Oh, you speak so wisely," said the old man. "You talk about perfection in shape. But how is it you do not speak about the most perfect shape of all? If a cube is perfect, then what is a sphere? Look at the sun. Look at the planets. Look at the moon. They are all spherical and they move in circles." "Oh," said Plato then, "I recognize you, old man, and I have heard these views before." "Oh, Plato, you recognize me. So you have heard about the theories of the atomos." "I have heard about it, Democritus," said Plato. And he presented the old man to his students and said, "This is Democritus, the student of Leucippus from Thrace, who came all this way to talk to us about his absurd theories." And Democritus said, "So, you think these theories are absurd? Then do you believe that the students in your school do not have minds strong enough to hear my theories?" "Oh, please," said Plato, who found a way of getting his revenge on the old man who was laughing during his lecture. "Would you please take my place and expound to these students your theories?" And Democritus took Plato's place, and Plato went and sat with the students. And Democritus started talking about his theories on matter. And he said that if you take an iron rod and you break it into pieces, you still have pieces of iron. And if you keep on doing this, you will get smaller and smaller pieces that will be iron. And that if you do this with other substances, other bodies, salt, you can break up salt and make it into dust, but it still is salt. Even if you reach a point where you can't break it down anymore, when matter becomes indivisible, it can still be, it can still have all the properties of what it is. And that is when Plato started laughing. And he said, "So tell us more about this theory. And how are they organized in space? These little atoms, the indivisible pieces. And Democritus started saying that they move. They move, said Plato. How do they move? What are the rules of the moving? They move, said Democritus, in an irregular way. Ah, that is not possible, said Plato. There are laws to movement, that they cannot be broken. And where do they move, these little unbreakable pieces of yours? They move in space. And that is when Plato started laughing really hard. They move in space? What do you mean? That there is space? Have you seen space in a piece of iron? How can these particles move when they are solid? And tell me one more thing, old man. And now the students were laughing too. Have you ever seen one of these atoma, these atoms you've been talking about, the uncuttable things? When you see them, come and talk to us, come and teach us. And Democritus, he had no choice. He lowered his head and he left the school. And that is how Democritus' theory, the theory of atoms, was received in ancient times. And it took more than 2,000 years until the 1800s, until scholars and scientists started to take it up as a model.